us. Yeah. We are here to talk about all things the immortal universe. Um, specifically, we're going to be talking about Interview with a Vampire. This particular episode is called In Throes of Increasing Wonder. I have with me, you all know me, I don't need to introduce myself. We're familiar with Elia, but Elia, go on ahead and introduce yourself just in case.
This is your girl Elia back again for all of the things that are wonderful and immortal.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. And Brittany.
Hi, I'm Brittany. Sorry I lost my voice, but I'm so excited to be a part of this show and the conversations that we're going to have.
Excellent, 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 excellent. All right, so let's get started. Let's get started. And we will start with the actual title of this particular episode, In Throes of Increasing Wonder. Oh yeah.
All right, so as a writer in my own right, love poetry. I was extremely intrigued by this title. I'm like, ooh, and throes of increasing wonder. Like that is such a delicious title. Um, and then when you watch the actual first episode, you're like, ooh, yeah, and throes of increasing wonder. So, and throes, the actual word throes means violent or intense change, and they compare it to even like death or childbirth. So when you incorporate in throes of increasing wonder, um, you're like, this is violent, this is painful, but at the same time, it's wonderful. So I really, really love how they have that pleasure pain dynamic in the very title.
Ooh.
So yeah, to me it was absolutely delicious and throes of increasing wonder. So to me the title did a lot, especially as I watched the first episode unfold. So yeah, I'm gonna be quiet because I'm just gonna keep saying in throes of increasing wonder.
But
In
wait, did you
throat.
say delicious? Did you say
It's
delicious?
delicious. It was
Delicious, yes.
delicious.
I
Yes,
love
yes.
it. I love it. Brittany. So, okay. So, first, Brittany, I don't know your backstory as it relates to Interview with a Vampire, if at all. Do you want to share
Ooh.
what you got?
Okay, let's go. So, my original experience with Interview with a Vampire, it goes back to the original movie from the early 90s. I loved it. One of my top faves of all time movies for
What?
vampire movies.
Okay.
I watch it all the time.
Okay.
Love it. Great movie. Okay.
All
So
right.
I knew when Interview with a Vampire was coming out, had to watch it. I had to see what was going on with it. And it's exceeded my expectations. I mean,
Okay.
I can't stop. I was pissed off that I couldn't binge watch it the way I wanted to. I was like, I need all the episodes now, right now, not tomorrow, not in a few days, now. That's what I need. Y'all are playing on my top, and I'm not okay with it. Okay, I was all in
Yes.
my feelings about it. All right,
Because
so I
Netflix
think
had them all out at one time, right?
Okay.
that's right.
Okay.
That's right. Y'all playing with me, and I don't like it. Now, shoot. So I love it. I love every aspect of it. The fact that you get to, I love period dramas in general. That's
Okay.
my thing.
Okay.
I love period dramas. And the fact that you finally get to see minorities in a
Mm.
period drama is
Mm.
like, thank you, chef's kiss. Finally.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. And now, on top of that, it's in Louisiana.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh. I got to watch all of it. I have to see it all. So that's been my
Yes, yes,
experience.
yes,
Oh, I love
I love it.
yes. How could you not love Britney? I mean,
It's
yeah.
so good.
Good. Yes. No. No doubt. I love it. Uh, Elliot, I don't know if I ever really asked you. I always knew that you loved vampires. But I never. I guess I never
Mm.
thought to ask specifically about Interview with a Vampire. What is your backstory?
My backstory is I have and I don't want to walk off camera to go get it because it's like right across the room. I have it on DVD.
Mm.
Like literally,
Ooh.
I have Interview with the Vampire still on DVD. Much like like hey in the '90s was watching it like Christian Slater and Antonio Banderas. Tom Cruise, all of them, like, hey, yes, like this was my movie. Kristen Dunst, as a little girl playing that
Mm-hmm.
role
Mm-hmm.
was like a
Mm-hmm.
huge thing for me. So I'm just in love with vampire movies, shows, True Blood, you name it. Like, hey, I'm on it. So, Interview with the Vampire, just the way that it was designed was like, I'm nosy. Like, I feel like I can interview people. So, the way that it was set up, like, hey, like, ooh, this is good stuff. So, my relationship with it is, if I were to put it in True Blood terms, I would probably be a fang banger, or be the vampire myself, you know. So, just
I'm right there with
completely
you.
Okay. Okay.
look in love with
Eric
the
Northman is my boo.
Uh. Okay.
hey, wait a
All
minute
right.
now, we look.
All right.
We can go off in the 50 different directions, but just vampire stuff is just so sultry,
Okay.
Hmm.
it is, and it's captivating to me. So that's my relationship with
Okay. And as for me, I'm gonna keep it simple. So it was in the 90s, right? So I didn't get to watch it at the movies. I saw it in college, actually in my dorm. And so I'm watching this, and I'm just like, hold up, wait a minute. What exactly am I seeing? Because to me, it looks like old boy likes this. Like, what is this? What
I'm a
what is going on
Hmm.
cinephile.
here? And I'm
What's
like,
the tea?
oh, what exactly, exactly. And it was a lot going on, and it was like, I gotta figure this out. I gotta figure this out. But times were different back then. Times were different, and so I couldn't look like I liked it too much because things were different. So I've since read the book, several books actually, and I'm all in. I'm all in, all in. All right, so let's get started. We did kind of meander, but that's okay. Brittany wants to talk to us about Storyville. All right, so this is so far um episodes 1 through 5. We're only talking about episode 1, but so far episodes 1 through 5 are all set in predominantly in Storyville. So just to kind of give us some backstory into what Storyville is slash was, Brittany is going to help us out with it.
Okay, y'all. So I remember in school talking about Storyville a little bit. And some of the back history on Storyville is basically it was a really long block in New Orleans. And and y'all correct me if I'm wrong. And during that time, prostitutes were the ones that were on the block. And while they were on there, they had to be registered. And when they were registered in this book that was like a catalog. And that catalog was basically the caveat of anything and everything you could want in Storyville. If you are a man or a female, whatever your sexual preference was, whatever you wanted, you could have it at that time on Storyville. Now, the other thing that was really controversial about that is that the politicians would live in Baton Rouge and have their family in Baton Rouge, but then they'd have their second family and their, I guess you could call them, what was the word, concubine, would be in Storyville. And so they would live double lives. And the reason that Storyville ended around, I think, the First World War, and it was because they had a large outbreak of STDs. Now, if I'm wrong, y'all tell me. That's my recollection of what I learned about Storyville. But it has a really rich history. If you want to know more about it, y'all should look into it because it's really, really, it's the only place in Louisiana the only place in the United States that had a whole red light district that was actually registered.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that.
I'm
Thank you
here.
for that.
I'm here for
You're
the catalog
welcome.
of desires.
Catalog of debauchery,
The
anything and
delicious
everything.
catalog of debauchery.
Oh,
Oh
Let's
my
throw it all
delicious.
goodness.
in there. Let's do,
I
let's get
love that
this in.
alliteration.
Nice
Delicious
gumbo.
debauchery.
All right. So episode 1 starts off with us, I guess, getting to know one of the main characters. and he goes by the name of Daniel Malloy. Now, Daniel Malloy was a character that we saw in the movie Interview with a Vampire. And so let's talk about him. Let's get to know him. Let's get to understand this particular character. Oh yeah, do you want to start us off?
So Daniel Malloy, uh, he's an interesting character. It seems like he's kind of become a little bit of a pariah in his profession. Um, and he
Mhm.
had some history with Louis in the past. So so now he's gotten sick or whatever, but he wants to kind of go out and re-up and get the real story of what's going on after he kind of gets this letter or and some tapes from the past from Louis. But Daniel, he's intriguing to me because I don't want to jump forward, but it's like you got married, you had some kids, but there's some kind of question marks for Daniel Malloy for me. Like, you
Do
met
tell. What are
him.
your questions? What are your questions?
Like, okay, so, and I did not read the book, but he, in one of the scenes, Louise like, hey, I met you in a gay bar, and Malloy is like, oh, I was only looking to score. So me and I'm like, my first thought is like, score, like what you trying to score? And then I'm like, okay, obviously he's talking about drugs, but I'm like, of all the places you could go to get drugs, you decide to go to a gay bar just for drugs.
Mm,
I'm thinking you're looking for a little bit more, but
mm.
that's just me. That's just me. You know.
Agree, agree.
Now, Brittany, did you read any of the books?
I did not read the books, I had to say,
Ooh, let me
but
tell you.
I know
Let me tell you, they deviated
it's
from the
scandalous.
books when it comes to this particular character. They really, really, really did. And so I have to try to
Oh
like
wow.
put my firewall up when it comes to this particular character because they talked about him. They talked about him.
You don't have to. Just
Mm.
And
be
it
free.
and it hits on some of the stuff that you were talking about. It hits on some of the stuff that you were talking about. And so I'm interested to see how things will progress with his particular character. I want to see how that turns out.
I mean, just even
I
in
like how he's dark.
he's
Give
kind
us
of
I
more. Give
like
us
the
versatile.
more.
darkness to him.
What do you mean?
Like he seems like one of those guys that didn't do everything he wanted to do in life, how he has a lot of regrets, how he's basically he did that. He kind of took reporting and made it like the McDonald's version of it. And he kind of just seems like he doesn't feel like the things and the choices that he made has actually helped him be the man that he wanted to be. He didn't think his life would go down this route. That's what I got from like the first episode. Like, oh, here I am. This is my life. I wanted more out of it, but what can I do? And then the letter came, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh, now I
Mm-hmm.
can get a second chance at doing something that really would have made my career. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I
I
do.
agree because he kind of acts
Just
like
that
he doesn't
dark
really
old
want to be
guy.
there. He
What'd you
kind of
say?
acts like he kind of acts
Girl,
like
he
he
seems
doesn't really
like
want
that
to be
mean
there.
old.
Go ahead.
Yes. He acts like the mean old man in the mall that's walking around with the water bottle and the cigarette in his hand and doesn't want to let go of the late 60s and 70s because those were his best years. Like that's how he comes off to me. Just that bitter old guy.
you
And
know,
then you
the-
take your ass all the way to Dubai and act like you don't want to be there.
Right.
And Louis straight up calls him on it, like, but you, in the middle of a pandemic, flew across the world to come and do this interview. Like,
while you're
get out of
sick
here.
with
Stop playing.
With a
Parkinson's,
compromised immune system.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
You
no,
want to
you
be here.
want this
Stop
as
playing.
bad. You want this as bad as I do. Let's be clear. Let's be
You know
honest. You
you was
want
in
this
the
as
house
bad as,
board not doing nothing.
and you've got to realize, like, at least for me, right? So he has
Watching Rachel on
Parkinson's.
MSNBC.
He has Parkinson's, and so at a certain point,
Why you
he's
why you
got
gotta
to
do
be
the face?
thinking. Well, I mean, so he has Parkinson's. He's got to be thinking, look, my days are really not done. They're only done because because of my illness. what if um what if I became a vampire?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Hey Felicia. Hey Felicia.
Hi. Hey, Tiffany.
So that's got it's got to be somewhere in his mind. Got to. Certain of it. I'm certain of it. And it kind of connects with the books.
You don't have to spill
Mm.
it out for me. That's fine. I'm gonna have it read by Sunday. Don't even worry about it. And I already have the stat book here, so it's cool.
Yes, yes. All right. So let's move. All right. So now let's talk about Louis, y'all. Let's talk about Louis. Um,
Louis du Lac. I
yes, yes,
love,
yes, yes,
love,
yes.
Yes,
love the
say it again. Say it again.
Louis du Point de Lac. Yes.
Oh,
So this is a pimp if we ever saw one, right? So he's a pimp of the high class style. You know what I'm saying? Black pimp of the high class style. You know what I'm saying? You don't
but
think
that
so?
left pip hand is strong if it needs to be. That's what I said.
On my own
It's
brother, if it
strong.
calls for.
Yoke them up real quick. And what?
Yes, all that, all that. So he's basically a pimp in Storyville, New Orleans, right? Black man amongst all these white people, right?
Yes.
White
It's like the
Yes.
clientele, all of that.
20s.
What does that mean? Oh, so okay, what does that mean for a vampire living at this time in history? What does that mean?
Hmm.
Hmm.
It's very
That means
interesting.
for a black vampire in the 1920s, in the height of Jim Crow, that means I have a lot of power at my fingertips, and I can choose to be a villain if I want to. You have a
Agree.
lot of power, and you can get away with it. You can absolutely get away with it. Um, but I think Louis, for the most part, I'll say, shows a lot of restraint. He's really responsible.
So much restraint. When
Is
he
it
walked out
warranted?
with them, he
Is
had
it
them
warranted?
613 bundles. And I said, you better swing that hair, Louis. You better swing it. And I knew at that point that's somebody not to play with. I knew it wasn't somebody to play with. Y'all remember the scene where it was the prostitute,
Lily?
the Lily? Yes, it was Lily. And
The
it was
flower,
the flower. And then it was Louis. And what's the other guy's name?
I don't know
Lestat.
what you're talking about.
Lestat.
Oh.
When it was all of them. Oh, I'm talking about Lestat. I'm not talking about Louis. Never mind, y'all. I'm talking about Lestat. But going back to it, Louis just seemed like y'all don't know what's in my tea and just going back to it though, Louis
but you don't know what I got right here.
Louis just seemed like somebody that was very manipulative and
Mm,
calculating, and he knew how to play the game like
mhm,
nobody else. He was always 6 steps ahead, and he knew what they were about to say before they said it. And that's something that I believe was powerful as a black man during that time because he knew, like, he until Lestat really came into his life, he realized he's been playing this game the whole time and dimming his light for them
mhm,
so that way
mhm,
he could be in the room. So
mhm,
that's kind of how I felt when I saw him.
mhm. So let me ask you a question. Do you feel this is a question? Do you feel that because we've seen several episodes, but I guess I am asking asking you to answer this question
Jump.
about episodes 2, 3, and 4 and all the other good stuff. Do you feel
Yeah.
that Louis dimmed his light even when he was with Lestat?
Yes, I do. I feel like I feel like Lestat saw him as somebody that could be his partner, But deep
Mhm.
down inside, Lestat doesn't really want a partner. He wants somebody that's going to be submissive to him. And so he found someone who was an alpha male type of personality and allowed him to be vulnerable and then honed in on that vulnerability. And as he did that, it caused Louis to dim his light even more. And I don't know why though, because love shouldn't make you do that. But for some reason, he was just so submissive. This strong, powerful black man is submissive when he doesn't have to be. Why?
So I guess I didn't see it that way.
Hmm.
I do feel that he dimmed his light. I do feel that. But I do kind of sort of understand why he did, or the fact. Okay, so Louis didn't want to drink the blood of mortals, didn't want to, and as a result,
Hmm.
that made him weaker. Right? You know, like he's
Oh, yeah,
not
that's
as
true.
strong as Lestat, and so even if he could have been halfway as good as Louis, he was never going to be um all of that great because he wasn't doing everything that a vampire should. And so understanding
Hmm.
that, you know, I, I don't think that number one he felt he had the strength to do it, to go out, because deep down he knew that Lestat loved him, was in love with him.
It's not a good love,
You
though.
like
That's
not that
toxic.
not that kind of
I don't
love.
want
That's
nobody to
Toxic
love me
love.
like that.
Yeah. But
Ramadan.
well, I don't know. I don't know. They agreed to it though. They agreed to it.
Did he
So and
really
and
know?
he asked before Lestat made him like, hey, do you want this? Like he basically
Do
asked
you
him,
want this?
you know. Well, he didn't say it that way, but but before he made him, he gave him a choice. He definitely gave him a choice. But to me, Louis's character is very layered though, because with his family, you know, you can tell he's the leader. You know, he kind of keeps everything in order. You know, his mom very well knows about his exploits as far as the business goes, with keeping the money flowing for the family and keeping them comfortable. And then when he's around these well-to-do white men, it's like he's got a seat at the table, but then like you said, he kind of has to reel it in a little bit. So there's that, and then Lestat comes into play. So that's a whole nother power player. So I don't know. I'm intrigued by Louis. I am. He's got a lot going on.
So
He
we've been talking around it, talking about it around the edges. Let's talk about Louis' family. Let's talk about Louis' family. I definitely love the interaction with his mother, because the mother was the head of the family. Say what you will, his mother was the head of the family, and I do believe that at least in Black society, we don't necessarily, or at least that has not been my experience, we don't look down on women, and we definitely don't look down on women who are the head of the family. And I wonder, since I'm talking to two Black women, um, how did you feel about those family dynamics that we saw at play?
I'll
These
defer to
must be
Bree.
like real hard questions because you all.
Look, well, I'm trying to get in the habit of not like just diving out there and giving somebody else a chance to talk. So,
no, go,
um,
go.
um, I have to agree. Like the matriarch of my family is thriving and well. So I'm kind of with you. Like I see the whole dynamic of not looking down on Black women and Black families. Like I'm just used to seeing a matriarch as opposed to a patriarch in Black families from where I'm from. Within the show, I think the family dynamic is very interesting, especially since this is a well-to-do family. You know, the matriarch is well aware of what's going on. You know, she's still kind of pulling the strings and
Hmm.
kind of reining everybody in, but Louis is running the money and things like that. Um, and then I don't know if we're going in this direction. There's the brother that's kind of I'm gonna say a little mentally challenged. Not entirely sure what his disability may be, because it's like I don't know if he may be like schizophrenic or something like that. But there's that whole thing with the mental mental health aspect, which I thought was really cool that they brought into play, because it's like a really big deal in the Black family and how we handle those things. So, um, to me, this family dynamic was really kind of cool, because Louis even speaks to it like, no, we're not sending him to another place or whatever. When if Dad was still here,
Right.
he'd have him in this place, and he came back and he was worse. So there's a lot going on
Hmm.
in that family. Um,
Hmm.
I realize I feel
Hmm.
like I'm rambling, so I'm gonna just be quiet and give Britt a
No, no,
chance
no,
to chime
no.
No,
No,
you
you're not.
saying it. You
Brittany,
saying
what you got?
everything I was gonna say. Keep going. You don't want to go more. Yes.
Brittany, what were your thoughts about
Yes, I
family
love
dynamic?
it. Well, I agree with everything else said. Like the fact that the brother was able to be himself and nobody hid him away and no one shooed him. And if anybody tried to say anything, they defended him. I love that part. I like that it was an openness with their family and a vulnerability as well. I like that the sister was basically the baby sister. And she's like, I'm the baby. I know I'm the baby. You're going to give me everything I want. And I'm spoiled rotten. I love that fact about it. Um, because you don't think about what a Black family could be like during these times.
It's
All we
true.
ever see is just
Slaves.
downtrodden.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Yes, yes,
We finally see a Black family that, yes, they fell on hard times, but Louis came, did what he had to do to hustle to keep the family afloat. And the family, for the most part, has an idea. Well, the mom knows. The rest of them have an idea of what was going on.
Hmm.
And they're like, it is what it is. This is how we got to survive. And they still just, there's this air of class about them
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I just loved, especially dinner table talking about their day. I was just like,
Hmm.
yes,
Hmm. Hmm.
be a Black family.
You know what?
I
I do
loved
have another
it.
question. I have another question. So, when the sister finds out that he's been out gallivanting and doing whatever in the streets with this white man, and then Louis was like, "No, he's French."
she said, "Well, I want to meet this French wife."
My question in that moment was, do they know about Louis? Do they know about his proclivities? You don't think
No,
so?
I don't
Okay.
think they knew.
All right.
I don't think he knew because he hid it so well at first
But can you
because
really
he was
hide it
still
that
messing with
well?
Lily.
How old was he though at this time?
You know what? You're
You got a
right.
new white best friend that you around all the time.
All the time. All the time. Like from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, you with this white man. Mm-mm.
Doing
So that
business.
that takes me to another question. So this is what is it? This is early 20th century, right? Early 20th century
In like
in the South,
1920s.
and we're talking about blacks, right? How much strength do you think it took for that mother to sit at that table with her son's lover?
Ooh.
Man, but this is
And
a
he's white.
woman.
And
She
he's white.
has such she has such a sense of propriety about herself, though.
She's
So,
a
like,
lady.
for me, like, I don't even know if I would equate it to strength or restraint, because that's just how she's built. She's just a proper ass woman. Like, you know, even when Lestat goes too far at the dinner table,
Yep.
she is like seemingly unfazed, unaffected. Like, let's just keep it moving. Then a conversation continues, and whatever. We finish the meal. We don't throw him out, and none of that. So I don't know. I don't know if that was difficult for her. I didn't see that. At least I didn't.
I didn't see it either.
But yeah, I just think she's built that way. Like she's just
Hmm.
tough. Like
Okay. 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 All right. All right. All
She
right.
water off the duck's back. She was just like, "Oh,
uh,
you're gonna go there with it? Huh? Interesting. Noted. Moving on." Like that's, I
right.
loved it. I loved it. I was like, "Oh,
Sitting at
you
the
know,
head of the table.
yes, at the very head of the table.
mm-hmm.
You're right. You're right. And no one else was sitting opposite her. Right? No one was sitting opposite her. She was the grand dame.
Okay. Okay.
I'm sorry.
That girl.
Uh, but I do want to go back for a second. So Paul, that is Louis' brother.
Mm-hmm.
Paul made a joke at the breakfast table, not dinner table, but at the breakfast table. So it's kind of going back just a second. When he was teasing his sister about getting married or whatever, and then he made a joke about going down the street to be with the witches. Do y'all remember that joke?
It was
Mm-mm.
in passing, and
And she said, "Mama, he's saying I'm a witch."
Mama.
Y'all didn't catch that? Y'all didn't catch that? Okay, well, maybe I
I
was
caught
just I
that
was.
part, but say more. Like
Well, it was really really quick, and it was like I had to watch it like 3 or 4 times to understand what he was saying, right? Because the words didn't make sense to me the first time that I heard it. But yeah, that's what he said. He was just like basically, hey, she can go right down the street. She could be with those witches. Um, but
oh,
yeah,
he tried, and he also was trying to like suggest that he should be in a convent. So, like rather than marry this man, like this should be good enough for you. Like you can basically go to the monastery. Like, what you want to marry this guy for?
do you think he was jealous?
Yes.
Expound.
I think he was jealous of the fact that she found love because he feels like the love that they have within their family been enough for her, and he didn't want to lose that connection.
That's interesting. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
That's what I was thinking.
it's a good perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right.
and
Oh yeah. Do you have?
I don't know if I'd say jealousy as much as I would say protective
Mm,
because he consistently worries. Like even before his demise, he's like, "Hey, do you think such and such really loves our sister or what have you? Is he gonna make her happy? Is he gonna give her his all?" Um, and checking in on Louis before he plummets to its death. So for me, I just saw it more as concern and you know things along those lines, more so than jealousy.
Okay. All right.
mm.
He was concerned.
I like that perspective too.
So no, we're gonna talk about that a little later. We're gonna talk about his suicide just a little later. So all right, so let's skip to the moment when Lestat walks Louis to Louis to his I don't know, do we call it not an apartment, townhouse or wherever it is he's staying. So he walks him there and he
Pleasure,
basically
pleasure.
His pleasure
his
did.
pleasure den. His pleasure den. His pleasure den. We're back to the P's and D's. We're back to the P's and D's. All right. So he walks him back and he's like, "Hey, I got a treat for you. I got a treat for you." And then Miss Lily comes out. I'm like, "Oh, what's about to happen? What's about
Really put
to
that
happen?"
chapstick on the nipples.
And y'all, I wasn't ready for the scene. I was not prepared for this scene.
Me either.
Listen,
I
I was
understand.
I was strapped in and ready. I was so ready. I stayed ready so I don't have to get ready. I was
I
ready.
know that's
Okay.
right.
You was
I-
trapped.
when he invited him in, I was on go. I was ready. Like, yep, it's about to go down. I hope
You
my
knew?
phone
I
don't
didn't
ring.
know. I did
let me
not know.
make sure. Let me make sure I'm on do not disturb. It's about to be serious right now. I'm knowing.
Okay, question, quick question. Do you feel like Louis was, because Lestat said, not Lestat, Louis said that Lestat was hunting him. I felt like Lestat was, to borrow an old term, courting him. That's what I thought. Where do you stand?
Is it more groomy?
Oh,
He said grooming. Oh,
Or
a
is it
grooming
courting?
courtship. A grooming courtship because Lestat is bored. Lestat wants a lover and someone to be submissive, all the things. So I don't know that I wouldn't say he was hunting him though. I wouldn't say he was hunting him. I do think he was grooming him and courting him all at the same time. Like when he saw him like put a blade to his own brother, he was so intrigued and turned on by Louis, like, oh, I got to have him like for all time.
Right now.
So right. So I do think he was grooming him and courting him all at the same time. I think it was a little bit of both. Not necessarily hunting him. I don't think it was that.
I wonder
Brittany?
why he said
Because
that though.
Why
a
Louis said that?
hunter,
Yeah, why y'all think Louis
a hunter,
said that?
Why?
a hunter doesn't love his prey. A hunter
Right.
doesn't love the prey. It's just strictly for the thrill, and once it's done, it's done. Lestat loved Louis. Now, albeit a very toxic love, but
Mhm.
you know,
I think Louis saw himself as the victim of Lestat. That's what I
Oh.
think. I think he saw himself as the victim, even though, going back to something that Elia said, the question was asked, do you want this life? Do you want to be in love with me? Do you want me to love you? Do you want this, everything that I can provide for you? He said, yeah. Not only did he say, yeah, come on. He did all this.
He checked all them boxes. It
Mhm.
said, come get me now. In the church. In the church. Priest done got eaten and everything. And
In
he's like,
Throes.
yes, get it. Right. You want this one too? Or this one? Which one? Because I say yes now. And I'm like, what?
I got several veins that's popping.
Which one do you want?
Come on.
Because I want to be with you. Take me now. Okay. It's crazy.
But now,
So,
but now you being hunted.
Yeah. Yeah.
that confused me when he said that. I
Yeah.
was like, is he
Yeah.
playing the victim?
I was clutch his pearls. I was being hunted. No, you wasn't. You wasn't being hunted. You was being horny, and you've been holding back on yourself for all of this time.
You knew, right?
This
You was like,
white.
yes. French white.
This French white with that beautiful accent that got his fangs in you, and now you don't know how to act. They done
Exactly.
put Lily to sleep.
Spindling.
They done put Lily to sleep and had their way with each other. Okay.
Okay.
Good
It's
night, Lily.
Lily he looked at her. Lily was just gone.
Just gone.
Dang,
Just knocked
Lily.
out.
Had them put their chapstick on her nipples for nothing. Lily, you not about to be doing this at all.
Look, I just want to see him with Lily talking about, well, what happened? What happened? I don't remember anything. What
Where am I at?
was Bill Cosby here? What?
The fact that Lily was like, well, typically when I'm with Mr. DuPont-Delay, he just want to talk. That didn't tell you nothing, Lily.
I think she knew. I think she knew all the time.
Yeah, me too.
Because she did say something. She was like, "Did you hear Louis? He what exactly did he say? He said something which basically, oh, did you hear Louis? He says he loves you." It was the first time they met, was the first time they met. What are you talking about?
Hey, he's a French white. Things go quick.
Okay.
Everything
Okay.
fast over the accent.
You know,
The
I
way
feel
he-
like we really didn't talk about that scene, and yet we said so much. Let's move. Let's move to Paul's suicide.
Oh man.
All right. So I do want to say this. What'd you say?
We went up
This
so
is
high to
not
go
at all.
down so low.
But I mean, you know, we got to talk about it. We got to talk because it's pivotal.
Yeah.
If you read the book, this scene is probably the most important scene to the development of Louis.
Mm.
Because I do want to say that. So this episode is probably the movie Interview with a Vampire is not in keeping with this one episode. This one episode is much more in line with the book, right? There were a couple of like embellishments that didn't really exist, but even in the way that Paul died, it is very clear in the book that Paul committed suicide. Even to the point where people were just like to his mom, to Louis's mom, they were like, no, he committed suicide. You've got to understand he committed suicide. And she was just still on that trip like, nah, Louis had something to do with it. Nobody believed. Louis believed it because his mom said it, right? So, but I do have a conspiracy theory in this moment.
Ooh, let's hear.
I love that.
Do you think Lestat made Paul commit suicide?
So he could have him all.
Yeah.
He
That's
did want to
good.
fly like a bird. No, I'm not being like that.
No, but you
He did.
You saying something there, like the way in which he did it. Yeah, I feel you.
No, yeah,
I
seriously.
didn't make that connection before. Or
Remember
even
at the
that,
table?
but wow,
Mm-hmm.
because his brother was the person he loved the most.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
In his situation, his sister. I mean, he obviously loved his sister, but he and his brother were extremely close. So wow. I wouldn't think that's far-fetched to say that Lestat orchestrated that because he was in his head.
Yeah,
Definitely in his head.
I agree.
Lestat.
It was just a thought. Like I don't have any proof to it whatsoever, but it definitely
But
crossed
it's
my
an
mind.
amazing thought. It's an amazing theory that has
Lestat is the dirty
some
dog.
evidence to support it.
He'll do what he got to do to get his bag.
His
Now-
way and his way.
Now, would that turn you on? If a man was willing to do that for you, would that turn you on?
No, because I love my brother. Oh, no. No.
No, okay. Let me revise. If you had a male best friend.
No. Nobody has to die. Why does anybody gotta die?
I'm just listen. It's something about the darkness that's just attractive to me, and it probably shouldn't be that way. I don't know. It's just something about Lestat that's just like, oh my goodness, you are awful. Come see. Like, like that bad boy type thing. Like, this is wrong. This is awful. You shouldn't. And then this is 9 times out of 10 gonna end catastrophically. But
God, isn't it gonna be fun?
I gotta press the red button. Don't press the red button. But I'm gonna press it. Push your goddamn button. So
I'm pressing it right now. I'm gonna press it. I'm gonna get a Lestat. I don't want it, but I'm gonna get it. I don't want it.
Like
but I would kill Lestat.
Like an IV drip.
I love it.
That's right.
I love
Shameful.
it. I love it.
Shameful.
Hey, It's shameful, but I'm gonna tell the truth and shame the devil.
That's
Listen,
right. I ain't never met a
you
nice
made me
vampire.
levitate. You, you
In
made me
throws, baby. In
levitate.
throws. In throws.
I
Hey.
mean, take me into the sky.
Sky high. Sky high.
Listen,
He,
you,
he
you
was
made
in
me
the
levitate. I don't. I don't really need to see my first cousins no more. It's cool. Like
In the middle of sex. In the middle of sex. We what? What?
Where are we at?
not metaphorically, not metaphorically,
Literally.
not figuratively at all. We are literally levitating. Okay, Grandma, do I need to see her again?
Mama, Daddy,
I
I
don't
love
know.
you. I'm sorry, but I gotta go.
I'm with
This
Lestat.
I'm with Lestat now, and he said that I can't see y'all no more. And I'm so sorry. Um, I'll write you a letter from where we're at if he says it's okay. But me and my
I'm
white
not
daddy
gonna
gotta
write.
go. I'm sorry. We gotta go. I can't,
I'm,
I can't be with you anymore.
Wait.
He's taking me away.
Hey, my white daddy, I love
I'm
you.
not. I'm not gonna write. I'm not
You're
gonna
not
write. I'm
gonna
not gonna
write.
lie
You're
because
not gonna write.
I'm gonna be with a stat and we're gonna be levitating. So I'm gonna be flying. So I ain't gonna have time to write. Like I can't fly and write at the same time.
But
So
for 100 years, could you do it for 100? Could you be
Yes,
without your family for 100 years?
yes,
Just for
I
the
love
D.
y'all. I
Just for the
gotta go.
D. Just for the D.
I gotta go.
This not just this not this is not this is not regular this is not regular degular D. This is
Why you laughing?
levitating
This is the truth.
pulse Satan.
I gotta go. I love you. I got to go.
This not that Reggie. This is that bubblegum kush, okay? Listen.
Not the ordinary stuff. Not ordinary. No,
No,
we taking it up a notch. Yeah.
no.
No, I have to go.
I gotta
Okay.
go. Like, you are so messy.
Okay. So we were talking about suicide. Not that long
Damn.
ago. So
The
let's talk
death to
about the
my
church.
family.
Let's talk about the church scene, y'all. So
Mm.
Louis, just buried his brother.
Oof.
He goes to the church.
Second line.
He feels Louis. Louis is all up in him.
Just
Spindly. Louis is talking to him, taunting him. Come to me.
Oh,
Lord
Lestat,
Jesus.
Lestat.
Somebody tell me, come to. Ooh, I gotta go. I got to
You
go.
got a second line. Like,
to go.
He goes to the church. He confesses his sins to the pastor. And y'all, what happens next? Ooh, Brittany, what you got? What happens, Brittany? Tell us what happens.
Bye, Pastor. Oh, you found the truth out? So just chaos. Just stuff everywhere. It's just who knows? Louis just be like, what happened? I just wanted to tell the pastor about my truth. Here come Lestat. Oh, you gonna talk about me? I've been calling you, and you gonna go to a priest? And I've been calling
you didn't
you.
hear me calling?
This charlatan.
Well, I'm gonna kill everybody again.
That'll show you.
Now
That'll show you
what?
to press ignore. That'll show you to press ignore.
Oh, you
Time
gonna
to
put
your
me
ass
on
answer on the first
D&D?
frame.
Do not disturb. Yeah.
You think you can D&D me in Jesus' house? Well, let me show you. Let me show you some real. I was like, yo, what is this? I love this show. I love Jesus Christ. I'm supposed to watch this. I love this
Meanwhile, I
show.
am appalled. This is so sacrilegious. We
It's
just
so
on hallowed ground.
Look,
How
it
can you
was,
do
but I was
this?
like, is
I
this
thought
really
they were
happening?
going. They was
You're,
just
you.
in it.
It was that pivotal moment where you are safe nowhere from me. That's the kind
Nowhere.
of love that I'm bringing
Nowhere.
to
Blood was
in the church.
everywhere. Look at that
Look
big
at
old
you.
hand on
You
his
see it right
chest.
there.
He is on top of him, ready to pounce in that nice suit, little
Yes.
3-piece with his little knockoff Stacey Adams. They is ready. He came prepared. He was like, "Look at me. This for you, baby. This for all for
This is
you.
Louis
This
was
is a
not prepared,
millennia of
like at
love."
all.
Louis, Louis, I'm looking into your soul, and you about to give it to me.
And you about to give it to me. You are.
Shut up and give it to me now.
And
Right.
here go Louis.
Here you go. You can have
Yes.
it.
Take me now, Lord.
Like
Take me now.
the scene gets extremely gory and disturbing, and in the midst of all of that, like Lestat has this way about himself of making everything disappear, all the blood of the priest, all of that goes away. Like he doesn't see that anymore. It's just him and Lestat, and he's just enamored, he's captivated, like
Yes.
just ready for whatever, like, and it's just like, so you don't see the blood on the floor.
Nope.
No,
Okay.
no, not at
The
all.
whole world disappeared, and in that moment it's like that was it, like you've been catfished, like, all right. It's not about to be how you think it's about to be. you know so
He's
So
like, it's
yeah,
just you and
it was it
me.
was a gory but a beautiful scene. Say it again.
Oh, say that again.
Wait. Oh, it was a gory but a beautiful scene.
Yes. That
It
is
was. It
that is
absolutely.
so true. It was so much gore and blood and grime and wood chips and building pieces everywhere. Stuff just flying, just total chaos. And the whole time nobody came to see what happened.
Oh,
Yeah,
that one priest did.
he
That one
died
priest did.
too.
He
He
came.
He
died.
died
Look,
too.
That
he
And
tried to
after
get
that, that
away.
was nobody came to see what happened except for that one guy. And that was it. Y'all know it was loud in there. I was like, yo, Lestat is that dude. He's that dude.
Yeah.
You can't even like
And
say his
a
name loud.
beautiful.
You gotta whisper it.
Y'all listen. Y'all need to read the books. Y'all really need to read the books. Y'all really
Okay,
do.
let's do it. Let's read 'em. I'm down.
No.
Ooh.
So, anything else that we want to talk about? Something that we might have skipped, missed, or didn't dive deep enough into?
Mm, we didn't talk a lot about the business aspect of it.
Oh,
About him being a black businessman during that time and the
yeah.
ideas that he had and how they tried to take it over and he
Is
had to
that
play the
episode one?
game. Was that
That's episode
episode one,
one.
right?
Um.
Or is that more two? Remember when his bodyguard? Remember when the
They
bodyguard?
do like because they were playing that card game. That was episode one because that's when Lestat
Yeah.
kind of does that parlor trick, right?
Hmm.
And kind of gets in Louis' head and is like, "Hey, they don't respect you. They,
Oh yeah, yeah.
you're
Hmm.
bargaining for this little measly 10%,
Said,
and he switches out the card and gives him a leg up. So yeah, no, that was an episode one.
So, Brittany, you want to talk about that?
I think the biggest thing I want to talk about is that it's to me it's powerful to see how throughout all of that Lestat is on his side, is trying to tell him stop second guessing yourself because Lestat can actually get into his mind. So I'm curious to see what all Louis was thinking because they didn't really say everything, but Lestat was saying different things to him to be like, don't second guess yourself. Know that you're right in how you're thinking. But I'm like, what was he thinking? What
So,
exactly was happening in the card game?
so I have a question for you. How many episodes have you seen? You've seen all five? Okay, 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 okay. Because for a second you were sounding like you had only watched episode one.
I thought that's what
So
I was supposed to do.
no, so we've all we've seen all five episodes.
Yes,
The three of us.
I love him. Yes. But that part though, that the white men around the table just bothered me because if felt like they were like saying allowing you to be here, but you really don't deserve to be here. But we're allowing you to be a good dog, be a good boy, and
Mhm.
take these little crumbs that we're gonna give you. And it's like, are you serious right now? All the things that I've done in this town and for you, and you're gonna sit here and tell me I should be thankful for these little crumbs of 10%? You don't get the fuck out of here now. So like I was just getting mad about the card table part because it just was so disrespectful. And I'm glad that Lestat came in and was like, "Oh, let me show you something real quick. Let me show you how powerful I am and what I could do for you." So that part I like.
You know, going back to what you said earlier, grooming, that could be seen as a moment of grooming. Just basically letting Louis
Mm,
know, hey, look, should you become what I am, this is what you could do, and this is how you could flip the script.
mm, I like that. I
Absolutely.
like that. That's so true. A
Ult-
black man with
Because
all that power in the
ultimately,
1900s.
ultimately, Lestat still has all the power, all the control, like
That too.
the mind control over Louis. Like even though when he's made, he can't read his thoughts anymore. He still controls Louis.
I love that part, but I hate it. I'm like, you need to step up. Come on, gosh.
um,
Well,
but
y'all, I
before
think
we
we've
end,
talked about. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
hey, no, we're not done. So real quick before we close out, how did y'all feel about the acting? Because I know, like Jermaine, you and I have talked about this a little bit, but I get irritated when people do Louisiana accents and they ruin them,
It's
But in this show,
it
personally, I felt like across the board they did a pretty good job. I feel like I feel like they did a pretty good job with this one,
they did okay.
especially well, and I'm gonna say because I love the whole French aspect. Whenever Louis gets into the fight with his brother, he's like, "I'll gut you like a cochon." I'm like, "Oh, you gonna gut him like a pig?" Like, I'm like, I felt that. Like I felt like that was pretty good. Like I wasn't mad. I wasn't mad at the acting and the accent.
Bruh.
So I'll say that,
He added that bruh
bruh,
at the
bruh. You could have left the bruh off, but
I like
but the cochon
it. I
that did it for me.
feel you. I agree with you.
And when I was talking
I
about
feel
that,
like
really
I
honestly, I was really talking about the Louis character. I don't know his name off the top of my head, but I was really talking about him because he, for all intents and purposes, he's the main one in this show who is from Louisiana. And white people accents I don't really pay attention to, but black people's accents. I felt he did a really good job, like almost as if he went to New Orleans and just lived amongst the people there so that he could get that accent as close as he possibly could.
Hmm. I agree.
I thought it was
I
good,
liked his
but that's all I had. Like I
swag.
yeah,
I love his swag. You really can tell that he hung out in New Orleans with the right people, and he had a wonderful time.
with the right with the
Hopefully,
right
he talks
people.
about what happened. I would love to hear how he got into character because I feel like that's a
Yes,
story within itself. Let's
Okay.
just say that
Okay.
because,
yes,
baby, you already know though. He was with the right people. Okay?
yes.
He really was. So, yeah, because some people that try to act like they from Louisiana in these movies, it's like a awful Jamaican accent. It's offensive.
Yes.
Mhm.
Or they get the
So,
areas wrong because we don't all sound the same in the different regions of the state. So it's
thank
like you could be
you.
giving off this Cajun accent, but that's not Creole New Orleans accent. It's not the same.
The
So
story.
yeah,
Exactly. Nobody from Shreveport sounds like they are from South Louisiana.
Louisiana.
Come on now.
They don't sound like they're from
not at all.
Louisiana.
They sound like they from
They-
South Texas. So just stop. But yeah, I
Right.
agree
And
with you. I'm
people in
glad you brought
Lafayette,
that up.
I'll be how like in Lafayette, the people don't sound like they do in Baton Rouge. You
Not at all.
know, so that dialect is just different, and it, mileage wise, it's very close, but they do not sound the same.
Mm-mm. Not
Mm-mm.
at all. Not at all.
But that was that was it. I just want to throw that out there.
Well, y'all, we have reached the 1 hour mark. And it's been wonderful. I
We
had a
talk a
wonderful
lot.
time. I don't know about y'all.
I
Hopefully,
had
you all have had a
fun.
wonderful time. Yeah. So we're gonna do this again. Don't exactly know when we're gonna do it or whether it's gonna be live or not. Tonight was a mistake. It wasn't supposed to be live. We were supposed to record.
But we live though.
We live, baby.
Did it.
But we're gonna do this again. So stay tuned for that. Until then, see you next